Okay, so it's incredibly bright out here, but it's starting to get warm again. And one thing that you do when it gets warm again is start to run air conditioners in cars, or really everywhere. But in the car it's more important, at least for a while, because even when it's a moderately warm day, like today, which is about 80 degrees, when you get in the car and it's been in the sun, it is hot. So you want to have working air conditioning. Unfortunately, I do not. Or so I was told when I bought the car. And what I've discovered is that the car does indeed have working air conditioner, but the guy who I bought it from, I'm guessing it was him, it might have been the person before, I'm not sure because he only owned it for about a year. There was a can of R134A in the trunk, you know, one of those AC Pro recharge kits that you hook up to the low side port, and I've got nothing against those. But you got to know what you're doing, sort of. It's not like it's not cold, dump some Freon in it and it'll be ice cold. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. So when I hooked the thing up to it just to see what was going on, the pressure reading, you know, because it's really not got a pressure gauge, it's got filled, it's got low, filled, and warning, and then retard, I think. And it was all the way up into, it was almost into retard. It was into the warning and filled area. And aside from this suction line right here getting slightly cool, it wasn't working. So somebody thought that it was full and it wasn't working. But what's really going on, and I don't know when this happened, there's supposed to be a condenser fan here. There's supposed to be an electric fan right here that helps to cool this condenser when the car is not in active motion, when it's stopped or you're going slow. There is a mechanical fan here, but that, I guess, doesn't pull enough air through. There's a gap here. This is the radiator fan, but there's a separate condenser fan. Now, I'll get into why I think someone removed this in a minute. But my point is, if you check the pressure, it was overfilled in the gauge, but it was not actually. So I did the right thing and just dumped some more in there. I bought my own because I don't like that stuff with the sealant in it. And when the car stopped, the air conditioning's hot. It does not work. But when you're moving above 20 miles an hour or so, it has nothing to do with the engine being revved, by the way. The air conditioning is ice cold now. But when you're stopped, you can feel this. And this thing is hot as hell. So the other day I got the hose and ran some water over it while the air conditioning was running, and it got nice and cold. So that's because this condenser fan has been removed. Now I could spend $200 on the genuine Volvo fan that would just connect to the two mounting brackets that are right in there. So I did the right thing and went on eBay and bought the cheapest fan I could find. This is a Maxon Performance, sort of a universal type thing. I haven't even looked at it yet. This is a 14-inch, I don't know, I think the original was in only 12. This is a 14-inch sort of universal push-pull, push-pull condenser fan. Comes with these things. I think the idea is that you push these through there, the condenser, the radiator, or whatever, and those little round things slide on the end of it, and that somehow holds it on. Or not somehow, that is how it works. Now this fan was about $30 for the whole kit. That includes, damn it, that includes shipping. So the quality of the fan is probably not the best, but honestly, it's pretty heavy. It's got a lot of condensation on it, so that's a good sign. This motor is metal. And they've at least taken some pride in balancing the blades because it's got a thing on it. So let's get into why I think someone removed the condenser fan. somebody just removed it. I don't know if it was the guy I got it from, probably not. He didn't really seem to be the working on things type, but you can see it would mount here, and then I think there's another bolt somewhere, but it mounts on this bracket here. Anyway, these are the wires for it, and it would have originally been in a connector, but these connectors on these cars, if you know anything about the 240, these connectors are falling off all the time. And if you're thinking, oh, I've never seen a 240 with a condenser fan, well, if you have a, I think it's a, God. Okay, I gotta make a phone call real quick. Okay. So I was talking about why I think the fan was removed. And while I can't say for sure, I have a speculation. So, it comes back to people not knowing how to troubleshoot things. And a great example of this was a video Jordan Yu made, it's probably a week or so ago, where his pellet stove, the igniter in his pellet stove had blown up. So most people would think, okay, I've got a bad igniter, and replace the igniter. However, that's not proper troubleshooting, because you need to figure out why the igniter blew up. The igniter blew up, I don't remember exactly, but for some reason the igniter was turned on constantly. It probably a relay or something, or the sensor or something. I don't remember exactly what he said. But the point is, the igniter is only meant to come on momentarily, but it was on all the time. So yes, the igniter was bad. However, something else caused it to fail. Now, I'm not saying something else caused this fan to fail, but I'm saying I think most likely the fan wasn't the problem. Because when I got this car, or by that I mean a couple days ago, I was doing some troubleshooting. I was checking this because I bought a new fan, but I wanted to see if this would still work. So I was testing these wires, and these wires should have power on them, 12 volts for the fan, whenever the air conditioning is turned on in the car. However, we had no power there, which means that the fan was not the problem. It was something else. So we have to look, I'm looking for my multimeter, we have to look further down the line. Now luckily, I've already figured out the problem and I've already sort of fixed it. So you guys don't have to sit around and wait. So here's what I did. I traced the wires back, and they go over to this relay here. I don't know if you can see it because it's really bright out here. This relay here has 4 wires. 2 of them are the one comes into the fan, you know, one's 12 volts in and one's 12 volts out. Well, we had 12 volts in to there, so obviously 12 volts out we would have if the relay was turned on. If you're not aware what a relay is, you can look it up, but basically it uses a lower current to electronically close and open a pair of contacts to switch a higher current, in this case from a sensor on the compressor, or it was here somewhere. There's a pressure switch down here somewhere, because I traced these wires. It's right here, and it goes down to a pressure switch, which, whenever the air conditioning's on, there's pressure on that side of the compressor, higher pressure, clicks on this relay. And no, it's not just on and off whenever the pressure's high, it is a constantly on thing. So the second thing I did, I was measuring from ground on the battery, because I couldn't get any voltage measuring from the one side of here to any of these other wires. So second off, I probed for the switched 12 volts when the air conditioning was on. And this wire had that. So that should mean that this one was ground. However, measuring between here and here, or even positive in here, I had nothing. Which means that this ground wire somewhere was broken or disconnected. So that is why this relay wasn't working. Now, I could have gone and traced this ground wire back, but it goes down in here somewhere, and it's just a ground wire. So I've just tacked on a wire here, and I put it, let's see, this is the negative. Yeah, I was just tapping to the negative side, but I'll probably put it under one of these screws or something. But when I did that, this relay clicked on, and we had voltage there when the air conditioning was on, and we did not have it when the air conditioning was off. So that means that this ground wire was causing our problem, and this ground wire is most likely the problem from when this fan was removed. So there you go. I will demonstrate here. Let me hook this relay up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got these wires connected here, which is where the fan connects. And as you can see, we're reading 0 volts. This is 0.26, that's just like residual, there's no such thing. It's not actually voltage, the meter just fluctuates. I'm gonna go ahead and start the car, without the key apparently. Damn it. I also got all these lights working if you're actually keeping up with the car. The only one, let's see, that's yeah, that's the upshift. Yeah, so they're all working. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the air conditioning on. Now you'll see there's no voltage, but when the compressor clicks on, there goes the compressor, we have 12 volts. Well, it's 13, but, you know, that's pretty much, it's gonna be a little bit above, and that's good. So we'll cut the air conditioning off. And you can see we're back down to 0. So that circuit is now functioning as it should. Now, can I say 100% that the reason this fan was removed was because of this? No. There could have been something else wrong with the fan as well. But the point is that unless you're troubleshooting things properly, firing parts at something doesn't always help. I could have replaced this fan and it still not worked. I could have replaced that relay and it still wouldn't have worked, because you'd think, okay, the relay's not clicking on, that's the problem. So then you go further down the line, I could have replaced that pressure sensor and it still wouldn't have worked. All because we have a broken wire somewhere. So you have to troubleshoot things. You can't just start firing parts at things, especially on something complicated and electronic, where one little thing could cause the whole thing not to work. So I'm going to go get the fan, and we're going to test that, because obviously I want to make sure it works. And I want to make sure it goes in the same direction as well. In the correct direction, that is. So as we mentioned, this is a push-pull fan, meaning it can pull this way or push that way. I'm not sure which way it rotates or which way it's set up to work now. But to reverse the direction, all you do is swap the two wires, and I think you have to take this blade off and flip it over. But of course we want it to push, because we're going to be mounting it in here. It's going to be a pain in the ass. Oh, I can go up from underneath. We're going to be mounting it in there. So we're mounting it. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to at least try to test this fan here. Okay, it appears that it's going in the correct direction. Yeah, it's going in the correct direction. If I connect the positive. So, let's just see, are the blades oriented the right way? I think they are. Come on. Yeah, I think that's the correct way. Okay, so of course the fan wasn't going to move much air. It was laying flat on the ground. Yes, it's going in the correct direction, I have confirmed. So, we're going to mount the fan in here. Just like right about there, I guess. It's fine. It does turn like that, right? Yeah. So, at this point I need to figure out that, I need to figure out the mounting hardware, how I'm going to get my fingers in there. I might have to pop this off and slide this back. If I have to, I will. So I'll be right back and we'll see. Okay, so I've removed, or not removed, but taken off, or in other words removed, these things. They go on the top of the radiator and hold it in place. They're like rubber. So now I can move this and just kind of stick my hand in between there just enough. I guess you can see what I did there. Yeah, just enough so that I can get the things through. Let me grab those. So this is how I'm assuming that these work. These are, they go through there. You push them through and they're like zip ties, sort of. These slide down onto the end. These springs are to keep tension on them a bit, and they just go one way and not the other. And I tried one, just one click. It was very, very strong. I had to cut it to get it off. So I've sort of done a test fit here. These little things pop off and you can move your hole here or there, so we might have to play around with those. And I think we're good. So I want to connect it so that I want my wires to be right here so I can connect them to there. And this top one, let's see, can I fit this through here without having like a royal? Oh, that's going to be a royal pain because this is a 2-row condenser. And there's more than 1 row of piping in there. So you get through the first, you gotta fight the second. So right now I'm fighting this coat hanger, which is my hood pop. Move it this way some, I think would be a good thing to do. Help you get more towards the center too. Okay, that one's through. So now, I'm gonna go through here. I'm going to, so this is gonna be the hardest one to get to actually. And the hardest one to put in because the fan, okay, I'm not too worried about the fan falling right now because it's not in a certain place. I just don't want to pull this back through. So, fan, so see this guy here, and this sort of, like I said, like a zip tie. Yep. Okay. I'm going to pull it tighter than this, but not tight because, well, I don't want it tight because we're still adjusting it. So just like, see, so it's sort of hanging there now. Is my camera going to start doing that again? Okay, I'll be right back. I don't know why, but every now and then that camera just does that. It starts going real dim like that. The next one I'm going to put in is this corner one. I'm going to have to move this little thing. Here we go. Unfortunately, this one that I had to cut is not quite, it's not pointy on the ends. But fortunately, I went through there pretty good. So we're gonna install this onto here. Still getting my hands nice and dirty. Okay. Third one. This is the furthest one away from where I need to reach. These are actually going through. We're gonna get real fancy. I mean, we're gonna go overboard, guys. We're gonna fix something that wasn't even broke. So, we put a zip tie in there. If we feel real special, we might actually go for 2 zip ties later. Look at that. It's like it's designed to have a zip tie in there. That's this really good quality Volvo plastic that everything on these cars is just oozing with. It loves to fall apart. Okay, now I'm going to plug the fan in. The one with the insulated wire I think is the positive. Now, okay, as sort of expected, these connectors don't really line up, but I think they would work. They're like, yeah. Okay, those aren't touching. This is just going to be a test run. I'm going to turn the air conditioning on. Air conditioning is on. And would you look at that? There goes the fan. Is it blowing the right way? It is blowing the correct way. Let's see how the conditioning is cold and the car is sitting still. So that, you can't even see it in there. There we go. That's doing its job great. So it's moving, that fan moves a lot of air. When I picked it up, it's moving a lot of air. So we're getting a good amount of airflow through there. So, I mean, we're not sponsored or anything, obviously. I mean, I can say what I want to. I can say this is a piece of shit. It's the cheapest fan I could find on eBay in this size. And it seems to be working perfectly fine. It's the condenser. Condenser's not incredibly hot like it used to be. I think we have successfully fixed that. Let me go turn the air conditioning off and we'll see it shut off. So it should be shut off at this point. And although this thing does have an incredibly long spin down time, which is good because the bearings are good in it, it would appear that this has been a successful repair. So all I got to do now is insulate those 2 wires. I should probably get some quality heat shrink tubing. There we go. I'll go cut it on one more time. Look at that. It's not incredibly loud either. Now, I'm not sure how much power the original one drawed compared to this one drew, but I don't think we should have any problem. The compressor in this thing doesn't sound the happiest, but it's working. So, there we go. The fan is installed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.